today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. I'm sure most of you have heard by now that former two-time WBO super lightweight champion Christina Lignarditu will not be boxing this weekend. The show will go on for Michaela, but not for Christina. The British board declined to license Christina because she has a permanent lens in her eye she has boxed her whole career with, but doctors wouldn't license her. Of note, board licensed her with the same lens when she boxed Katie Taylor there in 2019.
So what changed?
And what does this mean for Christina Lignardatu's ability to box in the United Kingdom moving forward, having not been licensed by the BBBOC? It's important to note that since that Taylor fight in 2019,
she's only boxed 2 times.
2 times in the last 3 years, both victories. She's coming off a 2-fight winning streak.
She has boxed in the last 12 months. She boxed last year.
Not in the United Kingdom, though, all the same, she did box. Unclear what the future holds for Christina moving forward. For Michaela,
I think she's breathing a sigh of relief.
I think it was Andy Clark who said it best. This is tremendous. To get an opponent of Wildheart's level at this notice is unusual and testament to the fact that she's never out of the gym. Stay ready, they say, and your opportunity will come. For Lucy, that opportunity is here.
You stay ready, so you ain't gotta get ready.
As far as short notice opponents go, this is a very respectable one with a respectable record, a professional record of just 10 wins,
1 loss,
no draws, 4 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 11 professional contests, 11 professional bouts to Michaela Mayer's 17 wins with 1 loss,
no draws, 5 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 18 professional contests, 18 professional bouts.
Kayla's about 2 years older than Lucy and still the taller, more statuesque fighter in the fight, though the height discrepancy between Michaela and Lucy is not as noticeable as the height discrepancy between Michaela and Christina.
Lucy's a little bit taller than Christina, but not taller than Michaela.
Michaela's fight with Christina was supposed to be for both the WBC interim and WBO interim titles, but due to the late replacement, only the WBC interim title will be on the line. The WBO title has been withdrawn.
This still allows the winner of the fight to go on to become Katie Taylor's next mandatory challenger, at least by way of the WBC.
It's been Michaela Mayer's plan all along. Michaela Mayer, who saw action two times last year, once against Jennifer Hahn, then again against Alicia Baumgartner, where she suffered her first professional loss late last year.
You might recall that was on the undercard of Shields versus Marshall.
It comes to Sweden's own Lucy Wildheart. Lucy saw action 2 times last year, just like Michaela. Lucy's lone defeat came at the hands of France's own Olympic gold medalist, Estelle Mosley.
It was in 2019.
Lucy fought 3 times that year, rebounded off that loss that same year, and since then she's fought 5 times. How to best describe Lucy Wildheart? A solid fighter with very good physical dimensions for this weight, though still a little bit rough around the edges. Shows a decent jab, a short jab.
Different fighters have different variations of the jab. Some use it as a deterrent to keep an opponent out, and others use it as a key to get in, to get within
striking distance of their opponents. That's how Lucy Wildheart uses her jab. She uses it as a key to get off those body shots, mid-range to inside.
Decent body puncher.
But I don't think she's as strong a puncher, as explosive as Christina Lignardatu would have been.
She's got some respectable body work.
The caveat for Lucy is that because she's a mid-range to inside fighter, she's going to come under fire trying to get within striking distance of Michaela, who's taller, longer, and has a good set of legs. Knows how to manage distance.
Far more experienced than Lucy Wildheart, who is a solid fighter and a solid acid test for Michaela Mayer, who's now campaigning as a lightweight.
Well, as stated, in order for Lucy Wildheart to get within striking distance of Michaela, she's going to have to win the battle of the jabs, and I don't think she's going to do that. I don't think she's got a better, snappier, more effective jab than Michaela Mayer does. Michaela Mayer's money punch is the jab.
Michaela, who's likely going to have to play it by ear because she was preparing for a shorter, stumpier fighter with a lower center of gravity that fights on a swivel. That's not really Lucy.
The silver lining for Michaela is that she is a lot more experienced than Lucy, having faced many fighters more experienced than Lucy. Anybody from Helen Joseph to Erica Farias,
Eva Brutnitska, Maiva Hamadouche,
and Jennifer Hahn. This is where a fighter's experience level speaks to their overall toughness. I think that Lucy Wildheart is going to try to go to Michaela's body. Michaela,
She's a taller, longer fighter with a longer torso than Lucy Wildheart.
Lucy's going to look to go there, but she'll be met at the door by jab right-hand combinations. The straight 1-2.
Kayla's got a decent right hand.
Don't forget that no matter what you've seen from Lucy so far, however she's looked, this is a massive step up in competition for her. A far cry from journeywomen with losses in the double digits.
Like Claudia Ferenzi, who she fought in her last fight.
She can give Michaela something to have to work around. She can give her some pushback, but the edge still has to go to Michaela Mayer, who's likely to win this fight on points.
This fight won't have the same action-packed aesthetic that the Christina Leonardo 2 fight would have had. This fight is going to be about nuance. This is going to be a fight of finesse.
Because Lucy's not as explosive and not as aggressive as Christina Leonardo. She can't push the pace the same way that Christina can.
Not as big a puncher.
Though she can punch a bit. I figure that Michaela Mayer is going to control the distance at which the fight is being fought behind the jab. Meet Lucy Wildheart at the door.
With jab right-hand combinations.
Show the neater, tidier work of the two. And win a points decision over 10. Going on to become Katie Taylor's mandatory challenger by way of the WBC. Look for this tomorrow on the undercard of Joyce versus Zhang. Men's super middleweight news, Canelo Alvarez believes that his power is too much for anyone to withstand, including Benavidez and Bivol, which is a bit...
The immediate response to that by most will be that Bivol took his power just fine, when in reality, Canelo didn't get to land power shots on Bivol.
It's a big part of what makes Dimitri Bivol such a pesky opponent for Canelo Alvarez. He can make himself a very difficult target, and whatever does get in, if something does, he can take it.
Well, I don't recall Canelo Alvarez landing any meaningful shots on Dimitri when they fought.
Things may not have gone the way he was initially expecting, but Alvarez is confident that things will be different this time around. While both Bivol and Ryder have shown to be incredibly durable throughout their careers, Alvarez is convinced that as long as his money shot connects, the likes of his opponents will undoubtedly be turned out. Yeah, everybody, said Alvarez to a group of reporters when asked if he could knock out anyone with the right shot. Everybody down for sure. In addition to both Ryder and Bivol, as of late, Alvarez's name has been intrinsically linked to David Benavidez. The 26-year-old WBC interim title holder has shouted from the mountaintops his desire to face his Mexican counterpart. Often praised for his offensive ability, Benavidez's chin has also been heralded as impressive, though I don't know why, seeing as he hasn't fought any big punchers.
What punchers has he fought? The best guy he fought is Caleb Plant, and Caleb's not a puncher.
He isn't. Don't give me the bit about him knocking out a very faded and past it Anthony Durrell.
Caleb's a good boxer. His bread and butter is his boxing, not his brute force, not his power.
Better still, Benavidez's chin has also been heralded as impressive as the two continue to march toward one another in an inevitable collision course. Alvarez isn't worrying himself with the monumental task that could soon be standing before him. Benavidez's chin, in Alvarez's view, is simply no different than anyone else's, meaning the fighter recently nicknamed the Mexican Monster can also be stopped dead in his tracks if Alvarez gets a clean look. You know the word everybody, said Alvarez while smiling when asked if he has enough power to KO Benavidez. Everybody.
I'll tell you this much. I don't think Alvarez packs a big enough punch to knock out Dimitri Bivol, I don't. But David Benavidez, that's different. I mean, David Benavidez, he has been put down before.
It was many years ago. Many years later, David Benavidez, he's no defensive wizard.
He never was.
He gets away with a lot. And what he gets away with because of who he's fighting. The man opposite the ring. You'll notice that the Mexican Monster, the KO machine, the KO stopped as soon as he stepped up in class, as soon as he shared the ring with Caleb Plant in what was a tale of two halves. While Caleb had the energy, he was controlling that fight.
But he gassed out the way we all knew he was going to gas out, and David took over.
Sort of. I should say, David got into the fight at that point and started bracking up all of those rounds, but he didn't stop Caleb.
We've spent a good enough amount of time talking about that.
Do I think Canelo Alvarez can put a dent in David Benavidez?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Do I think he could drop him? Do I think he could stop him? Well, I think he stands a better chance of stopping or dropping David Benavidez than he would opposite the ring, Dimitri Bivol. Dimitri is simply a more difficult puzzle to crack.
He's a much harder guy to figure out, and I've been saying that since before they fought. I've been saying that from the beginning.
Could be trouble in paradise when it comes to that rematch because Canelo wants it at light heavyweight for Dimitri's belt, whereas Dimitri, he wants it at super middleweight for Canelo's belts.
They've got to sort that out. They're struggling to find Dimitri Bivol, someone to fight over the summer months. And as a result of that, he may sit out all of the summer and return to action in a Canelo rematch.
But that's if they can reach a deal, if they can reach agreeable terms. Will the stipulated weight of this contest be what causes it to fall apart? That Canelo wants it at light heavyweight, whereas Dimitri wants it at super middleweight.
If it does, Canelo Alvarez can always give David Benavidez a call.
He's his mandatory challenger, isn't he? And the article states that David's been shouting it from every mountaintop that he wants a Canelo Alvarez fight. Well, if things don't work out with Dimitri, that would be the ideal choice. The ideal way to go. You guys are calling him a Mexican monster for pouncing on overmatched opponents? Let's put that guy's name to the task.
If letting Caleb tie you up for approximately 5 rounds while he's exhausted makes you a Mexican monster, what's that make Canelo Alvarez for stopping him? A fucking demigod?
Because he stopped him, and David did. David who's bigger, David who's younger, David who's supposed to be some kind of monster.
David couldn't stop Caleb Plant. Canelo did.
Those are the facts, and how you yourself, you out there, how you feel about it, that's between you, God, and your therapist.
And whoever you think is willing to listen to you make excuses for this supposed Mexican monster.
Doesn't look like any monster to me. I would relish seeing the Dimitri Bivol rematch fall apart and seeing Canelo pursue David Benavidez instead. That's what I want. That's the fight I want for September. The problem is, if push comes to shove and Canelo makes David an offer.
Canelo Alvarez, for the most part, fights under the Matchroom banner on the DAZN platform. And if Canelo Alvarez and DAZN and Matchroom, if they make a play to do the Benavidez fight,
would he be willing to cross over, or will this be turned into another game of musical chairs?
Yes, sir. So, does that mean you'd be willing to fight on DAZN if that's what Canelo wanted?
No, I believe that his contract expired on the next fight.
G Funky, fellow content creator here on YouTube, he very recently caught up with Samson Lewkowics and he asked him outright, if Canelo wanted David to fight him on DAZN, would they send him over? And you see what he said for those that missed it.
Play it again.
Yes, sir. So, does that mean you'd be willing to fight on DAZN if that's what Canelo wanted?
No. I believe that his contract expired on the next fight.
What you have to ask yourself is, what difference does it make to Samson Lewkowics what Canelo's contractual situation with Matchroom and DAZN is, when no matter what, this is the biggest fight his fighter could hope to have, whether it's on Showtime or DAZN.
I told you they'd turn it into a sides of the street thing. I told you they would not send David Benavidez to DAZN, that if push came to shove.
Well, you heard what he said, and some might argue that Showtime, the premium cable network, is still the superior platform for boxing.
Oh, really?
Make sure I put that shit through.
Hell no. Showtime is over, bro. Like, Showtime just released the ratings. Paul Fondura took a tough fight to get knocked out in front of 100,000 people. Like, Tank sells more than that on pay-per-view. Showtime is done, bro. They're done.
Yo,
they need to just sell
like
boxing.
The production. Their production is fucking good, and I like the commentators. Except for whatever his name is.
I don't like Steve Farhood's scorecard anymore. I feel like Al Bernstein ain't really bringing too much. Like, he you know, he's not memorable. It's not like he's like, oh yeah, I gotta have Al. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I feel you.
Been saying it for a long time that putting fights behind the paywall of a premium cable network, that doesn't get more eyes on those fights. Over time, the audience is going to shrink as more and more Americans cut the cord.
And you're telling me that Showtime is supposed to be the superior platform for sports based on what?
Not their subscribers. Their number of subscribers is down from last year. Not their metrics, not their ratings. Their ratings for a boxing match, their ratings are down as well.
You want to turn this into a sides of the street argument?
David Benavidez Sr. says they won't wait for Canelo. Says fights with Morrell, Andre, Charlo could be next.
They better be.
We already have a contract for 3 fights, and that consists of Caleb Plant, David Morrell, Boo Boo Andrade, and a possibility of a Charlo fight, Jose Benavidez said. But if Charlo doesn't get his act together, I mean, he hasn't fought in 2 years, man. I'm not going to wait here to see when he wants to fight. He's fighting on social media and all that, but that shit isn't making any money for him or for us. So, we're gonna stay active, and if we fight Canelo, good. And if not, he's gonna get stripped of his belts, and I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to continue with our era, our careers. We can't be waiting for Canelo forever.
You saw him mention Canelo potentially getting stripped. David Benavidez just so happens to be the mandatory challenger for Canelo's WBC title.
The same WBC that has allowed Jermall Charlo to hold the WBC title hostage for close to 2 years now without defending it.
They haven't stripped him.
So if what Team Benavidez is banking on is the same WBC that hasn't stripped Jermall,
you guys are banking on them stripping Canelo, who brings them way bigger sanctioning fees than any WBC champion they have.
Good luck with that. We're looking to fight in September, and if it's Canelo, good. If it's not, it's going to be somebody else.
Let me get this straight. David Benavidez's promoter, Samson Lewkowics, is unwilling to send David to DAZN for the biggest fight of his career, the biggest fight he can hope to have anywhere around these weights. He's unwilling to do this even if it's at Canelo's request.
David's father says that they're not going to wait for Canelo Alvarez because they've got a 3-fight deal with the PBC and Showtime.
If that's the case and you're not waiting for that guy and you don't even think you're gonna get him, then why don't you shut the fuck up about him already?
You're bringing up David Morrell and Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. The least the PBC can do is get you those fights, because those are ordinary fights.
You sat down and thought about the logic that these guys employ?
The PBC told Terrence Crawford that because Errol Spence Jr. is the A side, he's got to cross over to their side of things. That's the same thing they tell everybody at lightweight when it comes to Gervonta. Gervonta's the A side, so you've got to come to him.
But isn't Canelo the A side to David?
Yes, he is. He's the proverbial A side to anybody at or around these weights, and they're still expecting.
So when a fighter's not the A side, he's got to come to you. But even if he is the A side, you still expect him to come to you.
I'm not completely sure what's going to happen in September, though if nothing else, this is confirmation of what I already thought and what I've been telling all of you.
Canelo can make this guy an offer to fight him on DAZN and he won't take it.
And Samson Lewkowics, David's promoter, has already admitted to that.
You're right.